we thought about doing something different and react to some of the comments left on our podcast. If you like a chance to have your comment featured on the next video, think about leaving a comment. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe and like the content. Alright, so the comment that we have is from T2Next561. He says, "Are we brain dead? Did I hear Hima might be stronger than Sarada just cause she awakened baby karma?"
Personal opinion, I think that off the rip or off face value, it might sound a little bit crazy, but I'm thinking more in like a projection type of thing. Himawari just off the rip, just with like a baby karma. Again, of course, we just assuming it's possible that this baby karma isn't necessarily all the way up to where like the full blown karma was back when Naruto did actually have it. But the reason why I did kind of believe it's possible, or do kind of believe it's possible, is the fact that they talked about the affinity of their chakra. Now, not only that, also the fact that Himawari is also one of the main characters of the series, also because of the fact that she's the daughter of Naruto. I just believe that she's probably going to eventually get a lot more hacks things. And we talk about the affinity of the chakras. In my personal opinion, a lot of the modes that Himawari is eventually going to get, they're going to be significantly stronger than the modes that Naruto got. So when we talk about just regular KCM modes, KCM 1, KCM 2, stacking Sage Mode on top of that, and potentially other forms on top of that as well, I think all those are going to be like significantly stronger. And also, I think that Himawari is probably going to get a lot more external power-ups. Like, so it just in regards to like a projection type of thing, it's not just going to be, hey, just because she has karma, she's gonna be stronger than Sarada. I think it's more of like a projection, also because of the fact that Damon talked about how Himawari had something in her, some sort of power in her, and he kind of seen her as like a worthy foe. And again, if that's just karma, I guess it's just talking about, or that just bigs up the power of karma. But I believe that on top of karma, there could be some external thing that pushes her over the top of potentially what Sarada could get to.
No, I totally agree too, and you kind of actually stole my answer. I was going to say that as well. As far as her being stronger than Sarada, it's not definitive as of yet, but we did have one of the strongest characters in the series that was stated to really be interested in her, and as we saw from his character, he's very nonchalant about everybody else that he faces. He doesn't really care about them. He doesn't see them as a worthy foe. And he took the initiative to actually speed blitz to a power that he felt. And when he came up to Hima, he said, "Where did that power go?" And this was way before Kurama was actually in Hima. But I mean, I guess we can say that Kurama was probably manifesting in Hima at the time, because that's Naruto did lose Kurama around that time, or before that time.
I think for me, I would have to take a look at what is different about this version of Kurama in comparison to past versions of Kurama that we know of, in particular the last one that we saw with adult Naruto. Because historically, the tailed beasts, the 9-tailed beasts anyway, they're not scaling to an Uchiha at the top tiers. Like, Hashirama went around the world and he like tamed them all, but we know that Kurama was the most powerful out of them all. I'm talking about full powered Kurama, and he got low diff by Madara. And this is not even like Madara at his apex when he was alive. So if it's just like Kurama's power, I mean, sure, maybe over the course of, a few decades, several decades, Kurama ruined some kind of, exponential jump in his power, but I don't think there's any like real, things you can point to in the series to really get there. From what we saw. But even Minato was able to contend with a full powered 9-tails for a period of time, and I just don't think the power of Kurama in itself, as established in Shippuden and Naruto Part 1, would be enough to get Himawari over Sarada, depending on where you think Sarada scales relative to a Boruto, a Code, a Hidari. Right, if all your scaling checks out, if you think Hidari's God tier, then Sarada will be God tier as well, depending on her feats in chapter 10, time of recording, maybe even chapter 11 and beyond. But I think that will be the ticket there, is to look at the past and then compare how the Biju stack up, not the 10-tails, but more so the 9-tail beast, to past powerful Uchiha, in particular Madara, who, if the scaling checks out, would be weaker than a Sarada Uchiha 2 Blue Vortex. So I it's interesting in terms of power wise, and there's also hacked based abilities like the Sharingan, in particular the Mangekyo can tame a Biju. You also have to take that into consideration, her ability to manipulate the tail beast inside of Himawari. So if you're doing like, hey, she's stronger, right? Okay, well that's interesting. Victory, right? So could she win? I'm not really sure. I think she has the ultimate anti-Biju meta, Kekkei Genkai in the Sharingan / Mangekyo. So that would kind of be my answer. Now, if Kurama did retain some kind of Baryon mode power, or he got stronger over some period of time by some mechanic that has yet to be explained, time of recording, that's a different matter, right? But if it's just the Kurama that was in Naruto, if it was no Baryon mode shenanigans or anything of the sort, if he didn't retain 6 paths power or anything of the sort, then I'm going to go with Sarada Uchiha, just time of recording. And as of the time of the recording that we're having here, we haven't even reached chapter 11 yet. So that's, I think we haven't seen anything from Himawari that's relevant. We haven't seen anything from Kurama and Two Blue Vortex that's relevant in terms of their battle strength and assessing that. We have seen things from Sarada, time of recording. So I'm going to go with Sarada for now. But yeah, I think that would be my answer.
What about as far as, you know, Damon being interested in her and not seeing Sarada as a threat?
Yeah, so that does not necessarily mean that we're talking about Kurama. It could be something about Himawari herself that's interesting, because if I suppose the idea maybe would be, if you think, you know, like how powerful is Naruto relative to Kurama? I think a lot of people would say that Naruto is more powerful than Kurama, even just base Naruto.
I would agree.
I've heard some arguments about that, let alone Sage Mode. I mean, Naruto in Sage Mode in Shippuden was packing up half of Nine Tails with like relative ease, before, you know, the negative emotion hack started kicking in, and this was before Kushina ever got involved. So I can only imagine what like adult Naruto's doing to like a full power Nine Tails, and it makes sense because, again, like absent of any external power-ups, which again, go back to Shippuden, you look at Madara, Naruto entered KCM2, this was just half of Nine Tails, and he was getting packed up by Madara Uchiha with his Ganbai Uchiwa, the Uchiha battle fan. So it's only when he gets like 6 paths powers or external boosts, right, that does he start to like scale above a top tier Uchiha like a Madara. So I think maybe if you want to say, okay, well, there's something special about Himawari as an individual, which would amp the overall battle strength of her plus Kurama, then that can get really interesting. But if it's just, oh, Damon since Kurama, well, that's not confirmed time of recording, and I don't think Kurama alone as an entity, given the information we have to work with currently, is enough to even get there. But yeah.